Age of Imprisonment has a bit of a weird relationship with its sequel game, Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom came out first, and most of Age of Imprisoment's story is already covered in Tears of the Kingdom's Dragon Tears cutscenes. However, this also goes back the other way, as all of Tears of the Kingdom's Dragon Tears, a huge part of the story is fully covered in Age of Imprisoment's main campaign. Since this is the case, lots of plot twists for both games are almost spoiled in a way for the player. So this raises the question, which game should you actually play first in order to avoid spoilers? Or there's also the other question, does it actually matter? Well, today I'm going to be exploring this topic and answering this question, so subscribe for more Zelda content and let's get started. To start us off, let's go over my perspective on this, and then I'm going to discuss a few opinions from some guest Zelda YouTubers as well. I think that you should play Tears of the Kingdom first, and while the future opinions go deeper into things like lore than I will here, I still think my take has some decent reasoning. My main reason I think that you should play Tears of the Kingdom before Age of Imprisonment is simply due to the fact that you have more choice as to what you see. In order to beat Age of Imprisonment, you have to see all of the plot twists brought up in Tears of the Kingdom's Dragon Tears, and you have to know who the Light Dragon is and other twists like that. However, in Tears of the Kingdom, you technically don't have to get any Dragon Tears at all, and you can skip out on seeing a lot of the stuff that would be spoiled for you for when you play Age of Imprisonment. Some might say that this takes away from Tears of the Kingdom due to how important the tears are to this story. I mean, to be fair, they're literally in the name of the game, but if you have the mindset that you're going to get a more in-depth and playable version of these exact cutscenes in a game you're going to play right after this, I think that changes that opinion for most people. So basically, I think that you should play Tears of the Kingdom first, simply due to the fact that Tears of the Kingdom allows you to skip out on most of the spoilers that you would see in Age of Imprisonment. So that's my take. However, I wanted to get some other opinions here to find out what others think about this topic. So I got 3 Zelda YouTubers to message me their thoughts on this question: Swagmaster, Hey Listen Gaming, and CM30, aka Gaming Reinvented. Let's start with CM30's take, which has quite a few interesting points in it. He first brings up that Age of Imprisonment assumes you know Tears of the Kingdom's intro due to the fact that the game starts with Zelda laying on the grass after being teleported to the past, so that might make it a bit weird if you play Age of Imprisonment first. He also talks about the references to Dragonification and how that might make some bits of Tears of the Kingdom's memories not really hit the same if you already know how it works and who the Light Dragon is. It's also stated that the game doesn't necessarily spoil Tears of the Kingdom's main story, which is technically true. The game does go back through every single event shown through the Dragon Tears in Tears of the Kingdom, but it does avoid most of Link's story. So his final verdict was that it was a mixed bag. Some elements set up parts of Tears of the Kingdom, but the majority of the game works as a standalone project and prequel. Now let's head into Hey Listen Gaming's take. This opinion reads, I personally feel the order the games were released in is the best way to enjoy both games. Age of Imprisonment, to me at least, felt like it was filling in gaps in already existing knowledge. I was constantly surprised by how much I recognized from both Tears of the Kingdom and Masterworks. For instance, the game starts out with Zelda witnessing a part of the Pilgrimage of Exorcism, which is brought up in the book as a reason for why the shrines exist in Tears of the Kingdom. Without the meta knowledge that we already have from Tears of the Kingdom, I feel a lot of the story beats of Age of Imprisonment would be unremarkable, and wouldn't in the end have as much impact as if you played the two games in the opposite order. Age of Imprisonment is, to me, a deeper look into the lore left behind by Tears of the Kingdom, a filling in the gaps more than it is telling an entirely new story, and for that reason, you have to understand the shell of the storyline left within Tears of the Kingdom first. For the final creator's opinion, we have Swagmaster. His take simply reads, I don't think that playing them in either order will make any significant difference for your experience. They tell a similar story, but they do it completely differently. You're just experiencing the same story through different perspectives. Alright, so those are all of the creators' takes. We've got 2 takes saying that it doesn't really matter, and 2 other takes saying that you should play Tears of the Kingdom first. So really, it's your choice here. While more recommendations technically say to play Tears of the Kingdom first, you also have the option of just not really worrying about it and playing them any way that you like. So with that, here's where I'm going to end this week's video. Thank you to CM30, Swagmaster, and Hey Listen Gaming for their verdicts. Their channel will all be linked in the description below. Remember, subscribing is free and helps me out a ton, and as always, thanks for watching.